Great. So we'll get started. And I just wanted to thank the Henri Lloyd team for joining us today. We've got Avita, Kim, and Warren here. It's wonderful to have you guys. You've been wonderful supporters of Island Cruising, coming along to our departure events and all sorts of things. I just love all your gear. So I'm really excited that you're online with us today and sharing some of your great tips and tricks for sailing and being dressed well for the weather. So I might hand over to you guys to introduce yourselves. Avita, do you want to get started?
Hi everyone. Because I'm really cold, I changed my background, so I feel like I'm in a warm place. So I'm the emails and social media behind the Chandlery. So when you get messages, that's probably me sending you things. And yeah, working together with Warren to help New Zealanders to access the gear, as we are the sole retailers for Henri Lloyd gear in New Zealand.
Wonderful.
I'll
Thank
pass it
you.
on to Kim or
Yeah.
Warren, who wants to be
Kim,
next.
I'll let
Kim.
Warren go.
Oh, Warren, how are you going? Where are you, Warren? You look like you're somewhere
So,
tropical as well, or watery.
um, kind of. It was not so tropical yesterday, but I'm doing a little job down by Awakura in the North Island here of the Bay of Islands, and luckily enough, I have this beautiful backdrop behind me.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Excellent.
Does look nice.
So, a little about me. I'm a marine electronics engineer. Do a lot of that, but in my travels, I also do a lot of marine deliveries as well, from New Zealand to the islands, from the islands back to New Zealand, up the coast of Australia, across the Tasman is my normal sort of playground for deliveries. And so today I was just going to share my sort of thoughts and feelings and experience on weather gear and what you actually wear when you're at sea, especially sailing, but also maybe a little bit into power boats as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Warren. Lovely to chat to you, and thanks again for all your support. And Kim, great that you could be joining us as well.
Yeah, hi.
That's
I'm Kim. I'm very cold at the moment, sitting north of Sydney, where we're based. So my husband and I are the exclusive distributor for Henri Lloyd in Australia and New Zealand. So we took this on only 18 months ago. We were fortunate enough to have the distribution offered to us when they were looking to get it back into Australia. So there was about a 4 or 5 year absence of the brand in Australia because ownership changed from original ownership back then. And the people that bought the company decided that they didn't want to distribute through partners around the world. They were going to do it all from the UK. Essentially, that did not work for them. So the company sold to the current ownership, which they run. Well, Monte Rosa Capital own heritage brands. We have sister companies, Odlo and Janus, which do all of your thermals. So Janus is all marine-based. Odlo are your sort of polypropylene synthetic thermals. They're the biggest manufacturer of thermals in the world. So great having those heritage brands as part of Monte Rosa Capital. They previously had Rosengal ski gear. They had Helly Hansen as well in the past. So they're very passionate about heritage brands and I guess technical clothing that lets you get out and enjoy Mother Nature, really, and protects you from the elements. So, yeah, I'm here to talk from a technical perspective, can answer questions about any of the products and so forth, and to support the Chandlery, who, are our New Zealand distributor and have assisted us in supporting island cruising.
awesome. Thank you. And I know from, my personal experiences sailing around Littleton Harbour in particular, how important it is to have such good wet weather gear. It really makes your day a lot more enjoyable when you're not sitting in a puddle all day and you've got some decent pants and a jacket to keep yourself warm and dry. So it's great to have a brand like yours partnering with us and giving us all your expertise. Yeah.
I guess a bit of background prior to us taking on the brand. Husband had 20 odd years in marine electronics and the marine industry, which is sort of how we came onto this. And then as, I guess, parents and family, I grew up sailing a little bit, not as much, but my husband grew up sailing, our sons sail. So we've sort of been around wearing the gear well before we had the chance to I guess, bring it to Australia and New Zealand.
Awesome. That's great. And you've got a presentation you want to share with us through some slides?
Yeah. Let me just share my screen. Okay, now hopefully that everyone can see that.
Yep, we sure can.
Now, can you see that okay? I've got
Yep,
multiple screens.
Yeah,
multiple
really
screens running. So
no, that looks awesome. We can definitely see that.
Okay. Well, I thought I'd put a bit of a presentation together, and working with our head office in UK, giving you a bit of information around smart layering, and feel free to jump in at any time as well if you have any questions. So just basically, sorry, bear with me. Okay. Why layering matters, I guess, in sailing is that you've got your varying conditions. They can change rapidly. You want to maintain your core temperature without overheating. You want to make sure everything fits well so that you haven't got bulk. Also, too, when your layering fits well, it works properly. Moisture control, that's really important. I know that some of you ask questions around how to stop that moisture build-up within your jackets. So layering is a key for that. And then, of course, durability and protection. So your outer layers, of course, shield you from the wind and the rain, but your layers underneath are all about the insulation. So the layering system approach, it's a 3-tier approach. You will see in our range, and no doubt other ranges of other people that do technical sailing gear, you have your base layer. So that's your moisture wicking. It regulates your core, your temperature. The mid layer, so it's all about insulation and retaining that heat. And then you have your outer layer, your shell. So that's where it's windproof, waterproof, and breathable. But all the layers need to work together for everything to work. So, for example, so your base layer is your foundation. If you don't have that right, your outer gear doesn't work and perform as it should. So if you've got a breathable jacket, but you're still getting that moisture build-up, it's because your layers underneath aren't right and allowing that wicking to occur for that moisture to escape from your body. So this is just a little diagram here around the moisture wicking away from your skin, and then you can see there in the diagram your base layer there, and it's drawing that perspiration away from your skin out through your layer. So you want it sitting directly against your skin. The wicking will take that moisture away from your skin and stop the chilling. So it needs to be close fitting and breathable. And as I mentioned previously, you can have base layers in a merino wool or a synthetic, which is usually polyester. So these are the base layers you really want to avoid to ensure that the moisture is wicking from skin. So cotton. Cotton, as most of you probably experienced, if you're wearing a cotton shirt and you sweat, it gets damp. And as soon as the wind gets on you, it is cold. It can also cause chafing. I don't know if anyone's ever skied in cotton socks before and ended up with blisters. Same principle. Any sort of heavy, non-breathable synthetics don't work. A loose-fitting base layer also doesn't work. It's not effective. It's not going to do the job that's there because the moisture can't get into the fabric to allow the fabric to take it away from your skin. There's different tech fabrics, I guess more casual fashion. Again, are they really designed for the job you want it to do? They may say that it's a technical shirt, but you want to just make sure that it is designed for wicking. And then, of course, you can get thermal tops that don't allow wicking as well. This will come out, but it basically shows a comparison of a high-performance synthetic versus a poor-performance synthetic. So it's that old saying, if you get what you pay for. Again, you get your base layer right and you invest in the right technical clothing, it'll all work well together as a system. This will come out, so you'll be able to have a closer look. I won't read through everything. I won't talk to the screen. But again, it's sort of all those things I just covered on. It's around the right fit, the right fabric, and so forth to make sure that your layer is working. We offer a number of base layers. They are all a quick drying, moisture wicking fabric. They are form fitting, they have stretch, seamless. So you don't want seams because of chafing. We have odor resistant treatments. And then of course we have different weights of the garments depending on where you're using them and what environment. So for example, we have our polyester thermal here, a wicking thermal. It's our light. So it's better in those warmer areas where you could still get cold or need some layering, but it's not as heavy as our grey, which is our warm thermal there. Again, it's a polyester. We do have merino thermals all coming out of Giannis. These polyester ones have come out of Odlo. They're coming, our different merino thermals. Then here you can see we've got a t-shirt or a long sleeve. These are our dry fast. These ones here are dynamic tees, but they're all a dry fast stretch wicking. Beauty of the dynamic tees are that they're seam free and so forth, so you don't get the chafing, particularly around the underarm space. Then here you can see this jumper in the background. It's an active stretch jacket. So again, that is your next layer on top of your base layer. Again, it's more fitted as well. So what base layer do you choose? Do you go with a merino or do you go with a synthetic? A lot of it's personal preference, but also to depending on how you're going to use it and the environment that you're working in. They all have their pros and cons. Some people love wearing more natural fabrics and fibres, other people not so much. So I guess the quick answer for merino wool, great for long wearing. It has odour control, it's comfortable. It's great for those cold and moderate climates, so offshore sailing and multi-day sailing. A synthetic's great if you're doing more high output activity. It's fast drying. It's great for the warm and humid conditions, or if you're doing sort of inshore racing or you're in those warmer climates or you're going to be sweating a lot, you would probably go more a synthetic. And again, you've got different weights in the synthetics and the merino wool, depending on what you're doing. Again, this is just a little comparison between a merino and a synthetic around wicking, drying. So a merino doesn't dry as fast as a synthetic. But in a merino, the odour control is a lot better than a synthetic. When wet, the merino wool retains its warmth better than a synthetic. Things like durability, what environmental impact as well, because again, Henri Lloyd has a real focus on sustainability, everything from production to packaging to what our clothing is made out of. So again, if that's something that's important to you. Also too, from a cost perspective, your merino wool is more expensive than a synthetic. So I mentioned earlier around flat seams and seamless constructions. So particularly with that first base layer, when it is against your skin and you want it to be fitted, when it gets wet, you don't want any sort of chafing. So that's where the seamless or flat seam construction is important, that it prevents chafing. So whether it's because you've got a harness on and so forth, or a life jacket, you don't want that rubbing. Also, the seamlessness improves comfort when you're layering. There's less bulk. The durability in the product as well, but there's no sort of seam fatigue. And it also just feels better on your skin. So the mid-layer. So our mid-layer range, we have a few different products. So again, this is the layer between your base layer and your jacket. So the whole purpose of a mid-layer is around retaining the warmth without the bulk. So you want to trap that warm air close to your body, still allowing that moisture out from the layering, because you got your wick layer, your base, and you want that moisture to continue to move out. There's a few different materials that allow, I guess, that mid-layer, whether it's a lofted insulation or a grid fabric. We've got a lot of new grid fabric products coming in the new calendar year. Really exciting. It's all about maintaining your core temperature. And also, of course, fleece is, I guess, something that's been around a long time for that mid-layer. Some mid-layers you can also get for outerwear. You can get some that have that DWR treatment so that they are waterproof. Some people like that. I guess some people may recall like the soft shell and things like that, where it's sort of that mid-layer sort of fleece as well as a waterproof element or a windproof element to it. I guess choosing the right mid-layer depends on what conditions, so the temperatures you're in, what sort of activity you're doing, whether it's more passive or more active, and again, what you're layering, what you're wearing underneath and what you're wearing on the top. So one thing to remember is insulation doesn't generate heat. It's your body that generates the heat. The biggest job is about having that insulation layer to trap the warm air and minimize the heat loss. The other thing, so I've just doubled up there. The other thing, I guess, with mid layers, as I mentioned before, you've got your fleece. So anything from 100 to 300 weight fleece, depending again on what it is that you're wanting to use it for. Their fleeces are great because they're breathable and they're fast drying. They're really great for your cold conditions or dry conditions. The grid fleece or the micro fleece is what I'd mentioned, that we've got a lot of that coming. There is a bit on the market too still at the moment in different brands. It's lighter and it's a thinner fabric. It hasn't got the bulk that a fleece has. And again, it's all around that moisture, transport, and that warmth to weight ratio as well. So it's great where you're moving a lot and very active on your boat. Then you've got things like a synthetic insulated jacket. Again, it's warm when it's damp. They are often got a wind resistance, so they're quite good to wear without a shell on top if it's not wet and raining. It's great underneath your high fits or your salopettes too. Then the synthetic down is, again, it's got a higher warmth to weight ratio. It's lightweight, it's compressible, it packs really well. It's great for those really cold conditions. And then you've got an active insulation, which is a stretch synthetic fill. So it's about breathability and insulation. You've got that heat, moisture to escape when you are warm. And it's great for that sort of racing environment. So with your soft shell jackets and vests, as I mentioned before, you can get those with wind resistancy, water repellency, and they're breathable. Great for that variable weather. You can wear them alone, you can wear them underneath shells and so forth. Some can come with an insulation or a fleece lining in them. Then you've got your hybrid mid layers. So that's like our Smart Therm jacket. So it's designed, they actually map the insulation based on the areas of your body that you want to be warm. So there's more insulation in the chest than there is the arms, but that jacket too also has the stretch fleece panels in it, in the areas like the Y zone on your back, because that's where you sweat the most. So it has the wicking properties to allow the sweat away from your back. It's also down the sides, but also has the stretch because, again, it's around that mobility. And often it's great when you are busy and active on the boat. You've got your different merino mid layers as well, and then you've got some of your technical hoodies and sweats that you'll see also on the market. Again, this is just a table showing you the differences and the type of sailing and type of conditions, what type of mid layer would suit you. And then I've got there sort of what our different products are and how they relate, some of which are coming out in the new year, but it'll give you an idea of the type of thing that is on the market or coming onto the market that suits what you're doing. But again, you'll receive this, so I won't go into that too much. Then we talk shells. I guess that's that barrier between the wind and the rain or the water coming over the bow of the boat or whatever it might be. Has to be waterproof, windproof, and breathable. Tape seams, highly important. Henri Lloyd developed the tape seams years and years ago because it's all about keeping that water out. Storm flaps, high collars, you want adjustable cuffs. And again, I guess the key thing takeaway from I guess this presentation is around your system. It needs to work. Your base, your mid layers, your outer layer, all has to work together. And the thing is, if you layer too much, it will stop your outside layers working. So again, you don't want to overlayer as well. This again, it's just around that moisture management. You can have a great jacket, high breathability, but if you don't get your layers right underneath, your jacket's not going to work right for you either. So this is a bit of an example with some of our products. So an inshore racing day, we've got here a real lightweight base. We've got a stretch mid fleece as our mid layer. That's our active stretch jacket, depending on the weather. And then we've got a breathable waterproof jacket over the top. Here we've got one of our dynamic light jackets for that sort of inshore, just out for an afternoon sailing. An offshore multi-day passage, we say we can have something like one of our thermal bases, a merino or like a synthetic polyester base. Then you want something like an insulated or a sort of mid fleece. So here we've got our smart therm jacket, and then of course you've got your full technical shell with storm protection. Here we have our elite jacket. So an inshore cold, wet, windy day, you'd probably want to wear more of a warmer base layer. Here we've got the active warm, it's that bit thicker and warmer. We're also adding some more warmth with our mid layer with a fleece. And then we've got our coastal offshore jacket here, the Biscay. It's got that higher neck storm collar. It's got the double cuffs and things like that to keep that moisture and everything out. Hot sunny day, definitely want to wear some sort of base layer with UV protection. Here we've got our dynamic tee, definitely a long sleeve is the way to go. Also there we've got a light proof shell. We've got our dynamic shell there that you can always just put on and off as required, packs away easily. So this is our layering cheat sheet, basically looking at what the primary function is of your layer. So with your base layer, it's all about moisture wicking. You want something that's lightweight and close fitting. Your mid layer, it's about insulation. That's kind of around the warmth, and that's something like a loft, a synthetic loft, a fleece, smart therm jacket, something like that. Even a smart therm gilet, a vest can also work depending on what you're doing. And then you've got your outer layer. It's all about the protection from the weather. So that's where you want it waterproof. You want the tape seams. You want the double cuff if you're in that sort of really wet environment, so you don't get water down the arms. Just around why our layering systems can be trusted. Everything that we design and manufacture is tested in the sailing environment. The smart therm jacket was on the Volvo Around the World Ocean Race, tested there before it went on the market. You know, the feedback was they loved it, they lived in it, didn't smell, it was great. My son used it in Italy last year doing deliveries, and he said it was the best thing ever, that smart therm jacket, from insulation and keeping warm and under his wet weather gear. Again, variety of materials. So we have that variety there so you can pick and choose what works for you and the situations that you're sailing in. It's, again, system. It's around the right system to make sure all your gear works as it should. And look, our stuff's tested everywhere. They're constantly developing. As I mentioned, new products coming out next year, and it's all about you know, maintaining your core temperature and durable, and things can pack well. It's got to last, basically. So again, I'll sort of just put this in here. It was around an example of someone doing the Fastnet. It's kind of timely, seeing it's on at the moment. Some of the team's just finishing now. So again, an offshore race, prone to a different weather exposure. They're on deck a lot. They've got a warm base layer there in like a merino base layer, probably about a 200 weight. Then we go into the mid layer, smart therm or an active stretch, and then of course your wet weather gear here with an elite. Another example for that, on a hot light wind day, again, that lightweight base layer, wicking, movement, stretch, breathability with a lighter shell. Now, these lighter shells here, that's an example of a dynamic jacket or the light shell. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with your waterproof levels, but 20K waterproof is kind of your offshore waterproof level. These jackets are 20K waterproof, but they're lightweight, they have stretch. So there is waterproof as that gear that I'd previously showed you in wet weather gear for, say, the Fastnet. But perfect if you're doing the tropics. It's a great jacket for the tropics because it is so light, no bulk, and of course breathable. As mentioned, base layer is your foundation. Without it, your best outer gear is not going to do its job. It's essential. It's the first contact for sweat. You want it to wick away. You want it to regulate your temperature. You don't want any chafing. You just want it to set the base for how everything else performs. They've given an example here of you don't build a high-performance boat without a solid hull. Same goes for your clothing. The base layer is your hull. It's the foundation. And if it's wrong, everything else struggles to perform properly. And that's the end of my presentation. If I can take any questions, if you like. I haven't had a chance to read the chat in case anything's in there.
That's all right. No, that's awesome. And it kind of makes me realize how wrong I've been doing it all this time, because I personally know just how uncomfortable you can be when you do end up sort of sweating and you're not breathing or wicking away the dampness inside you, and you're just about as wet as you are inside as you are outside your jacket. So clearly I need some better base layers and things. But what would be, for people who are kind of sailing from like New Zealand up to the tropics, or from the tropics back to New Zealand again, you're sort of going through that large sort of temperature range, leaving here in winter time and arriving into the tropics in still the winter time, obviously, but often a lot hotter. Yep. Is there any sort of like outer jacket or system that you would kind of recommend for people as like the ideal wardrobe to pack for that passage?
Yeah, look, it is a tricky one. I think I would probably, if you've got, a lot of people are, have a good outer wet weather jacket, and have invested probably a lot of money in that initially. I would probably focus more on your base layer. So maybe having two options, having your lighter, sort of like an active light, something that's going to work in the warmer weather, but we still need that insulation. Like, I'd probably invest in that as well as a really warm base layer.
Yeah.
So you can get dual use. You can sort of mix and match based on what you need. And the same with maybe your mid layer. I would think about whether it's something like just an active stretch jacket that's more of a fleece. And then I would think about something a little bit more technical that maybe also has an element of a waterproof outer, so that you can wear that if it's cold, but it's not wet and you haven't got your full wet weathers on.
Yeah.
But it's still going to keep the wind out. It's still going to keep you warm. But you're going to get another dual purpose out of it. It's not just about a mid layer that has to go under your outer gear. It's a mid layer that can also be worn as somewhat outer gear.
Yeah.
Where it might be a bit of light spray, or it's just windy and you're wanting that wind block. Yeah. I would probably do that from a mid layer, and because you don't want to have multiple wet weather jackets. I mean, yes, definitely if it's extreme and you're just kind of doing a lot of tropics, but then you also want to do a full ocean kit. But I'd probably look at options in your layering, and it's probably a bit more cost effective as well in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have anything to add to that, Warren, with what you pack for your deliveries and things?
Yeah, so for my deliveries and what I do, mainly we're sort of talking between New Zealand and the islands, or vice versa. I pack for two completely different weather systems, and the trip, I feel, is always broken into sort of three different parts. You've got the part either entering or leaving New Zealand, which is the part that you need the gear that just works. That's going to be the worst part of the trip, always is. It's just how life rolls. Then you have the middle part, which is the ocean crossing part. And then the final part when you're getting into the tropics and stuff like that, where it's all nice, you could probably just about get away with wearing underwear, and that's about it. So the first part is that section around New Zealand, that first 300, 250, 300 miles off the New Zealand or Australian coast, is probably the part where you really, really, really need that wet weather gear, and you need it to work correctly. During the days, there's also a little bit different, I feel, to the night shifts. It's on the night time that you actually get that cold coming through. That's when you get wet. That's when you get cold. It's when it actually comes in and affects your core temperatures. And my great belief is that you dress for the worst possible conditions that you're likely to see. That means that you don't get cold. As soon as you get cold, your performance drops.
Mm.
Your brain starts going elsewhere. You're not feeling right. That's when things go bad on boats, is when people aren't thinking correctly. And a lot of that is due to cold fatigue.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah.
me
It makes
personally,
life miserable, doesn't it? It's sort of
yep,
horrible being cold.
it is. It really is. So for me, my last trip I did, when was that? Departed New Zealand 1st of May, went up to the first part of the island cruises, sort of got out here on the first day everyone escapes. And my packing list going off the coast, the first part of it, I tried out the new Elite set, Henri Lloyd Elite set for the outer shell. Underneath that, I personally have a Henri Lloyd mid layer that dates back about 15 years. And I use it still on every single trip that I do. Absolutely love it. That's what I use for my mid layer. And at night for my base layer, I was using the warm thermals, the warm Henry Lloyd thermals, which keeps you nice and warm. That system between the three is what keeps you warm at night. During the days, after you get sort of that, depending on the speed of the boat, of course, but 2 to 3 days out, during the days you can drop that mid layer back. And that's when you're dropping back to your fleeces and that's still wearing your warm thermals, but dropping back to your fleece layer for your top and then jacket on top of that. And a lot of the time, we were lucky enough to have reasonable conditions on that trip. So I was warming up quite a bit during the days, and I was dropping back to a breeze jacket, which is a 10K light, waterproof, spray-proof jacket. And that was enough, sort of just to, when you were taking water over the side of the boat and sort of the occasional sort of spray across the cockpit, it's enough to sort of keep you warm and keep those base layers underneath warm and dry. And that means that they can work. Going through to the midsection, then it was changing the base layer down to the lighter base layer. Didn't need the warmth so close to the skin in that part. The temperatures are starting to warm up. And that's where I changed over to a long sleeve tee. So still a base layer, more about sun protection during the day. And I was using a breeze gillet during the day then, and just a pair of shorts at that stage. At night, I was always going back, that middle stage, back to the full warm base, mid layer, full mid layer. Basically, what now is the thermal mid layer, the same as that, and the full jacket at night, because it's at night that you get cold and you can't warm back up. And then for the third part of the trip, I was shorts, t-shirt, and breeze, either gilet during the day or breeze jacket during the evenings. The reason for that is you're not so much protecting your core warmth, you're just trying to keep that spray off and stay dry more than anything. And that's more about comfort from the saltwater spray than anything.
Yeah, and speaking of that, do you have any tips on how to stop the water from going up your arms and up your sleeves while you're steering?
Well, that's all about the jacket. So depending on what jacket you go for, if you have a look at the cuffs of jackets, a lot of them have the rubber inner cuffs. Now, those inner cuffs, most people put them on and never actually realize that most of them have Velcro tightening points on them. And as long as you actually seal those to your arm, then you don't have water coming up your cuffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good tip.
Yep.
And yeah, do you have like a jacket, does Henry Lloyd have a jacket with harnesses incorporated, or do you use like a separate harness? What do you recommend?
So myself, I don't believe in incorporating harnesses into jackets. The reason for it is if there's, well, the main issue is if there's any issue with the harness whatsoever, you got to replace the whole lot. The other side of it is it encourages you not to wear the harness when conditions are good and you're only wearing the shirt. So harnesses with built-in life jackets, I believe, should be worn at all times at sea, above deck, especially on yachts. And being that, and when you get into the warmer climates and you don't want to be wearing a jacket, you still want your harness, you still want your life jacket. And so I always believe being separate are the best to go for. And there's awesome brands out there like Spinlock and a couple of built-in harnesses.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And I guess it gives you more flexibility with your options, doesn't it? If you've got your jacket, you can wear it for other things but without having a harness attached as well.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
And what about women's gear? Can we talk a bit about women's weather pants in particular, and sizing and different shaped women, and going to the loo? Because these are issues that women have with weather pants. What do you guys recommend, and what do you have in your range for women's weather pants?
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that. So
Pass back to the girls.
no.
Yeah. So we have, I guess with the Henry Lloyd range, we have the approach that we're trying to do. If we do it for men, we do it for women in terms of gear. So with our high fits, the women's high fit, we do a drop seat in the high fit so that you can just drop the back out of it to get to the toilet without having to take off your layers and pull down. Some people like them, some don't. It's really a personal preference thing. I think also, while I'm on the topic of women's high fits, we also had a question around the actual fit of the high fit and sizing. Sorry, just while I'm on it, we do a salopet as well in our dynamic range. For more of, I guess there's also people that do just day sailing, sports boat focus, and want more of a salopet. They, of course, can't have a drop seat because of the way they're designed. But in terms of sizing, we did get the question ahead of time, which was really great, around sizing for curvy women, women's hips, and so forth. And it's funny because I had a customer recently who actually wrote us a little recommendation just saying how great the gear, her high fits fit her, because she is very curvy. So I did a bit of an exercise comparing our size guide against other key brands. So I compared against Musto, Zyke, Sail Racing, and Gill, in anyone that sort of does a high fit. And for women's sizing, which generally they all run from an extra small through to a 2XL, Gill does a sizing from an 8 to a 20. But as a comparison, the Henri Lloyd size range starts with a waist size between a 61 and goes up to 102. We're the only brand that goes that high as far as waist size and hips. So in a hip, we go up to a range in 2XL of 119 to 124. The next closest after that would be Gill with their size 20, which is 114 to 117. So it was interesting to see that. I actually hadn't done that comparison. I kind of knew what our range was as far as sizing. But, yeah, the fact is that Zyke don't even go to a 2XL. They only go to an XL. And, for example, Musto's waist size in a 2XL is 84 to 86 centimetres. In Henri Lloyd is 97 to 102. just
Right.
to give you a bit of comparison. So we have got a real range to accommodate those women that have got curvier hips that want a high fit to fit them.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. And
I can actually chip in with this. We just had a pop-up shop in Wellington in Royal Port Nicholson Club, and there were ladies who were bigger sized, and they actually admitted that Henri Lloyd is the first time when the gear fits. And they usually go for males jackets, but they end up being with too long arms.
yeah.
Whereas here, actually, the jackets were fitting around the hips and about around the chest. So it was a good feedback to get from real life. And it just comes down to trying on and finding what suits.
Yeah, definitely. And so if people order online, like they can just measure themselves and have a look at your measurement charts and things. And if they order them and they get sent to them, can they send them back and replace them for a different size if they're not fitting properly?
Yeah, look, I can only speak for the Australian Henry Lloyd website. Yes, we have a return exchange policy within 30 days of purchase. So, yeah, high fits and it just varies. People want different sorts of fit. So, in some cases, yes, we can exchange. Some cases, we've had people buy 2 sizes and then return one to get the fit right. So, yeah, we do offer that.
Yeah, awesome. That's great.
From the chandlery side of things, also, we can offer that. And yeah, just make sure the tag is still there and it's not being out in the water.
Yeah.
Don't send it back afterwards, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But also, yeah, just in New Zealand, definitely can keep an eye out for the pop-ups we are doing around the place, because we are based in Russell Bay Islands. It's a great location to come to, so everyone's welcome. But if you're not here, just keep an eye out or if you are from a boat club or a member of a boat club, we're happy to come over and do a pop-up just for this reason.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's great service. Thank you. And the women's side, like range of the base layers and the mid layers and stuff, that obviously sort of mirrors the men's
Yeah,
range as well.
some products are unisex, and then we have women's products and men's products. We've got women's thermals coming. They're coming very soon, and with the Smart Therm gilet and the Active Stretch and the Smart Therm jacket, they are all a unisex. So it's a men's sizing from an extra small through. So, for example, I'll wear the extra small men's. I'm normally a women's 8. So, yeah, I tend to wear that. Sometimes I'll wear the men's small, depending on the size fit that I want. But, yeah, generally, most things now come in a men's and a women's sizing and range.
No, that's great. That's great to know. And what about the sort of average lifespan of the outer shells, with the seams and washing them and sort of care of the stuff so that you don't sort of lose the waterproofness of your garments?
I actually have a little presentation on that, which I could share with you because I thought the question would be asked. Before I share it, that depends on the product. So all of the Henri Lloyd products over the last sort of year or two is that they with your wet weather gear, you have a DWR coating on it. That coating is what is the water repellency. Now we use a DWR coating. So that one is fluorocarbon free and environmentally safe finish. So it's PFC free, so it's non-toxic. It doesn't have the forever chemicals that you've probably heard about. That your older wet weather gear, if it's just a DWR and it's not PFC free, it's leaching chemicals every time it gets wet. If you Google and YouTube, you can actually see some information and testing where you get about 5 toxic chemicals, and those chemicals go into our waterways. They leach into your skin. They're in every sort of product that has some sort of water resistance on them. Carpet, it's in all your firefighting foams and things like that, those
Right.
chemicals.
Yeah.
So globally, there is a big, different countries are moving through processes now of banning the use of that chemical. So Henri Lloyd decided to go, I guess, be ahead of that before it's mandated. But in some countries in Europe, it's been mandated already for the last year or two. It's getting mandated in America in 2026 and other European countries that chemical or that can't be used anymore. So we have PFC products. All our wet weather gear is PFC free. So it would depend on your gear. So if you're going PFC free, how you keep that waterproofness working for you is a bit different to how you would if you've got, say, an older jacket that's not PFC free. So I thought I'd just put that out there now.
Good to know. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because it's important to know, because again, it's around the longevity of a jacket. The most important thing, and while I'm just sharing my screen, is always freshwater wash your jacket. Basically, that's the crux. Always freshwater wash your jacket after every use if you can. Will help. Sorry, I've got so many things open here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone see that?
Yep, I can see that.
Okay. I'm not going to go into all of the technology other than your different waterproof fabrics. Essentially, it's a layering system, and you can have 2-layer, 3-layer, and so forth. And that helps with the level of water repellency. So the outer fabric has that DWR finish that I was mentioning, and that's what gets that beading of water on your jacket. So when you start to see your jacket absorbing the water instead of beading, you go, I need to do something to my jacket. As mentioned, always wash your jacket with fresh water. So salt crystals will dry into your jacket. That attracts the moisture and clogs the pores, which of course then affects your breathability. So you may have a great layering system, but if that outer jacket also is not breathable, then of course it's not going to work. And it also affects your waterproofing. And the salt can also degrade your tape seams. So you may have had an old jacket where the tape seams start coming off. Besides age, the salt can also affect that. So again, rinse, rinse, rinse. As mentioned, Henri Lloyd now uses the CODWR, so fluorocarbon-free, environmentally safe, it's non-toxic, as mentioned for all the reasons that I talked about before. So here's a step-by-step guide. Rinse after every use, only machine wash when necessary on a cold, gentle cycle, and then you can use a non-bio liquid or a flake detergent. Don't ever use fabric softener, bleachers, or anything like that. Whenever you're washing your jacket, always zip everything up. Make sure all the Velcros, tabs, everything's closed. You dry gently in a dryer. I'd definitely hang it out first, get the bulk of the water off, and then you can do a tumble dry. That helps reactivate the DWR treatment to get that beading back on the exterior of your fabric. You can get a DWR treatment. So you may remember, because again, Gore-Tex is a brand name, but you used to be able to get a Gore-Tex Reviver. You still can. Don't use that on something that has, like our products, your products, because you want the one that is PFC free. You can buy that. One brand is Storm. It's something we're actually looking to stock ourselves because our customers are always asking for it. But again, you just spray that onto your jacket, and sometimes a light tumble dry will also help with that. Always dry it before you store it, and also, keep it somewhere where it's cool and ventilated. And then just always check it over, check for delamination and all those types of things. If you look after your jacket well and you do periodic refreshes with DWR, you'll get 10 years out of your jacket. As mentioned before, little bit around the banning of the PFAS chemicals. You can see all the different countries here that have already banned or are in the process of banning. And as mentioned, Henri Lloyd just made the decision to be a step ahead of the game. So that is my presentation.
Yeah, that's great.
Just a little summary, but yeah, freshwater wash and just that retreat. They sort of say every 5 to 10 washes, and now you're not going to wash your jacket every other week or after every use, but you might go, okay, we're sort of not doing a bit of sailing. I'm going to give my jacket a good wash because it's getting stored. Maybe sort of every 5 to 10 washes, actual washes that you're doing in the machine, you will probably want to do your treatment spray, give it a tumble dry, reactivate the DWR, get it working again.
Yeah,
and then see the water start beating back on it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Avita's just reminded me that the waterproofing and caring for your gear was in the last Cruise News magazine, so we can send a link to that article. And Warren's packing list was also in a Cruise News article couple months back, so we can share the link to that too when we email that out to everyone. So that's cool. I'm just going to see if I've missed any other questions in the chat. What's recommended for offshore outer shell in warm, hot weather? You might have mentioned it in one of your slides, but which was the jacket, like if you were hanging out in the tropics and wanted to avoid the rain showers that they're currently getting up in Fiji, is there a light waterproof jacket that you'd recommend?
So the one that I would recommend is the new dynamic range coming through, which is, I really, really, really wanted to try it out on my last delivery up to Fiji, but unfortunately it arrived about 2 days after I left.
Oh, bugger.
But that is the one that I would definitely go for. It's absolutely the lightness of it. You don't even tell that you're wearing it. The waterproofness is the 20,000, which is up there, so it's your full offshore waterproofness, and it's breathable, it's movable, it's everything that you want for an island jacket.
Yeah, that sounds great. And another question is the high fit in the base and outer layer?
So at the moment, the base layer, of course, you're using your thermals, which is leggings and top. At the moment, the smart therms are in a jacket and a gilet only. We're waiting for the new range to come through, and with that, I think we'll see some changes in that. But yeah, so with that new range coming through, we'll see the high fits in the mid-range as well, I think.
Yeah, you'll see. So at the moment, we just have an outer layer high fit in either a coastal high fit or a elite for your full offshore. We do have in about February next year coming a mid layer. So it's almost like a insulated pant in like a salopette that you can wear on its own. It has an element of water repellency, but you can wear also under your high fit. So it's that mid layer to wear under your shell. So that's coming. Some people know it as a bear suit, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So that'll be here in about February next year. Yep. And the jacket as well. And again, those grid shells and things like that are all coming too, as well as a duck cap. So you can even get an insulated hat that can
That's
pull
great
over your
for bald people like me.
Just for me to add on to that, the gear that I use that's 15 years old is exactly that. It's a thermal waterproof salope and a thermal waterproof jacket. And it is my absolute go-to for any trip that I go on. I just love it. It's like when you're in it, I call it my wearable sleeping bag.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so.
Very cool indeed. Avita, have I answered all the questions that you had in advance? Yeah, I have. Oh, good. Excellent. Does anyone else have any questions you'd like to ask now, or tips you'd like to share with your own experiences, or anything else you guys would like to add before we sign off? No. Okay, no, that's cool. I'm glad we've covered everything, and thank you so much for joining us. It's been really interesting, actually. Like, I've learned a lot myself, and oh, I know what I was going to ask. Excuse me, the island cruising discount. Um, Now, do you want to talk about that, Avita, the discount offer?
Yeah, so island cruising members get 10% discount. We'll send a reminder code to the members. If you are not a member and joining this webinar, I recommend to get in touch with Vicky and find out why it's worth joining. But before that, I just need literally a couple of seconds to double check that all the names of the participants are in my prize draw wheel. And then we will do a prize draw for dry fast long sleeve tee. So yeah, for everyone who stayed until the end. So yeah, just give me literally 30 seconds, please.
Okay,
Fill the space.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you. Warren, did you have any closing comments or anything you wanted to add?
So probably the main thing that I'll say, the reason that the Chandlery and myself actually got behind this brand is from my experience with it from years and years through it. Now, I've had all other weather gear, all the other major names I've used over the time. I've been, like a lot of people, out sailing since I was born, pretty much, and all the time ever since. Been through all the brands. The one brand that I've always been able to trust and use is the Henri Lloyd. And that's the main reason why we support it and we actually advocate for this brand.
Brilliant. No, that's awesome. Thanks, Warren. And Kim, did you have any closing thoughts?
Not really, other than, it was great being able to be up in Queensland for the start of this year's rally. And I was very jealous of everyone heading out, and it sounded so exciting. It was great to spend some time with everyone, just chatting and hearing about where they're all heading off and so forth. And, one day I will get there and do that. That's the dream. But I think, having not just about our brand, I mean, yes, of course, we're here to definitely demonstrate what our products can do for you all, but it's around also too that, it's no different to whatever you do. It's around having the right gear to keep you comfortable, keep you safe. No different to if you're working in the outdoor industry, again, it was all about keeping dry and things like that, because that was my background years ago. You want the right boots, you want the right jacket, because you're out in the elements. And so, for us, it's also about just educating people on the right gear, what its purpose is, and the importance of investing in pieces that will last so that you keep comfortable and dry and safe and all those things. And, that's something, whether it is sailing, whether it is the outdoor industry, or all those things, that's something that has been very important to us, my husband and I. And that's why we enjoy doing things like pop-ups and doing these types of things, is to just let people understand about gear.
Absolutely. It's been great, because you're right. It's so easy to just kind of fumble around on a website and kind of choose a t-shirt or a top because you like the color of it, and not necessarily understand all the science and things between how they all work so well together.
That's right. It was interesting. We did, sorry, my dog's we we supported the Women Who Sail Australia conference this year, and we did a little fashion parade in the gear, and I commentated on some of the products, and I was pointing out about features on a jacket and hand warming pockets and all sorts of things, and they all sort of said, it would have been great to hear all this at the start of the conference rather than the end. It was just an impromptu thing we did, because they said didn't know anything about that. We didn't know about the forever chemicals and the fact that things leach out of your jackets. We didn't know about that's why you have that storm collar or that zip, or all the features to make your life easier when you're on a boat and you're wet and you're trying to do 10 things at once.
Yeah, there's a lot of science behind it, and I've learned a lot. So thank you so much. Avita, over to you.
Yeah, I am ready. So one thing I can add also after talking with people, yes, you can choose a cheaper gear, it's up to you. And if your like financial situation doesn't allow to invest in the gear, we understand, of course. But it's just like with everything in life, sometimes it's better to invest in the beginning, and you know that gear will be with you for years instead of changing it every year. One thing is your wallet will hurt every year when you look at it back. The other thing is, do you really want the jacket to end up in a landfill? And this is the way how just being more conscious and yeah, sustainably thinking. But anyway, I have my wheel ready. I just hope it works. All right, here it is. Share. Let me know if you see it.
Not yet.
No. Wait. Let's try another one. That was all the screens. Great.
Hang on. Yeah, try.
Let's see.
Here we go. Yeah, that's
Is
it.
it showing now?
Yeah, got it now.
Okay, so everyone who stayed and is on the participants list is here. I'll just click it.
Wow,
I have put also Vicky's name. So
gosh, I'll be in trouble if I win.
It is Marion.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Congratulations. That's exciting. Cool.
Can we have a hi from the winner? Are you
Hi
still
from
here?
Aaron.
You
Is
should be.
Aaron still there? Oh yeah, I can
You
see.
just were here. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get off mute. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Oh, congratulations,
Awesome.
Aaron. Exciting. That's awesome. Very cool. So I'll let you and Avita catch up and organize that. That's very exciting. Thank you so much. It's really fun to include a draw like that. It's very generous of you. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Avita will come back to you with some notes and the link to the recording, and I'll also post this on our website and send you the link to the discount code on our website as well. So please take advantage of the fabulous generous discount offers that these guys have come up with. And I know that I'm going to be doing a bit of shopping this afternoon. It's exciting. So thank you very much, Warren, Kim, and Avita. I really appreciate it. And thanks everyone else for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your afternoons. See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.